A California woman believes that toxic mold killed her 2-year-old daughter, and now she's joined dozens of tenants in a lawsuit claiming that mold in their apartment complex is making them sick. Early Show national correspondent Hattie Kaufman has the story.
As Jennifer Lair walks her daughter Skyla and a friend to school, she fears Skyla will once again expect her little sister Nevaeh to be home at the end of the day.
Skyla, at first she was angry, now it's just questions, when is she coming home, or is she coming home?
2-year-old Nevaeh Lair died suddenly last year.
We woke up that morning and she was gone, It just angers me because I kept telling management, that something was wrong in the apartment.
Jennifer believes mold in her apartment killed her daughter. The Coventry apartment complex in Bakersfield, California, is the target of a lawsuit. 68 residents claim toxic mold made them sick.
Most mold, as people understand it, is pretty benign stuff like, maybe mildew or things that you'll see growing on bread. But there's all types, and mold could be some of the most toxic substances known to man.
We've done testing in approximately 16 to 18 units. In each one of the units, we have found elevated levels of toxinogenic molds.
Environmental lawyers David Poore and Alan Bell say they've documented mold in the apartment since 1999.
Most of the problems we see, for example,
right in there,
is the mold growth in the window seals.
This is like basically an insidious cancer that's growing from within this complex because of this unbelievable mold infestation.
The apartment management company refused our request for an interview, citing the pending lawsuit.
Oh, look, it's raining.
The Lairs took this home video that shows water dripping from their ceiling. They claim maintenance workers made the mold problem worse by improperly cutting into the moldy walls.
When you cut open that sheetrock and you have a release of the mold spores throughout the environment, then you have the level of airborne mold spores increase exponentially. Right after that happened, Nevaeh died as a result of respiratory failure.
While the lawsuit claims toxic mold killed the little girl, the coroner's report lists the cause of death as pneumonia, and it does not specify what might have caused the pneumonia. You didn't find any evidence that toxic mold killed her?
No, not at that time. But now, since the litigation has come up, I know that there's been a lot of holds placed on what tissue that we have, and I think that they're probably going to be doing some different types of tests.
While that investigation continues, more children have fallen ill. Microscopic mold spores become airborne, and when inhaled can cause anything from a mild allergic reaction to asthma to serious autoimmune disease. Wendy McCohen's 4 kids are doing better since they moved out of a moldy apartment.
His tonsils and his adenoids were so swollen he couldn't breathe.
So you're sure that it was mold in the walls that made your kids sick?
Oh, absolutely. We saw it, and when he went to the emergency room, it was the day after being re-exposed to it. He was laid on the floor, and he was just gasping for air. His temperature was 104.
Deanne LaRoque moved out of her apartment when she couldn't stand hearing her children complain of illness.
Mom, it's time for the breathing. It's time for the breathing machine. Time for the breathing machine. And that hurts me as a parent.
Which one do you want?
The Lair family is now living in a hotel. After Nevaeh died, they moved to another unit in the same apartment complex. But the mold reappeared, and their youngest child, Jared, became seriously ill.
He takes albuterol. He's on Pulmicort. Pulmicort he takes twice a day in a nebulizer.
Though the family moved out, their possessions are still in the contaminated apartment, including the urn of Nevaeh's ashes.
This is my daughter's hutch with some of her stuff in it, her tap shoes. She loved tap dancing.
She was happy all the time. She was always happy until she started getting sick.
So sad.
It makes me mad because it all could have been prevented,
For the Early Show, Hattie Kaufman, CBS News, Bakersfield, California.
And since we visited that apartment complex, 2 more children have had to be hospitalized.